The basement, where nerdiness thrives, and grown men rant about toys.
What up, basement dwellers and dick lickers?
Yowza, dick lickers. I just want to say that zombie problem solved, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And new slogan for the show.
Dick lickers beware. You're in for a scare. Dun 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 dun. Brrrr. You just have like the the White Zombie logo pass by a bunch of stuff, and you just turn into Rob from the Meet the Creeper music video with the big ass arms.
Oh shit. So all right. What the hell have you been up to since the last time we were doing this?
In the words of Gentle Giant, working all day, I am not particularly having a great time at my job right now, but it's all, for the better, I think, just realizing that, you know what I mean? And it's not like it's like, fuck you, I'm out the door, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to figure out what my next step will be because I got a lot of projects that I want to get going in my head, a lot of scripts that I wrote. Um, One is a particular short film I'm not going to spoil too much on yet, but I want to get it filmed by next winter, and it would be a fan film of a very popular horror movie that I don't think people would expect to see a fan film of. So I want to try to start like managing my time so I could start getting more creative stuff like that off the ground. That's what's been going on with me, just trying to balance time and money.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, I got that job, so I'm in the quality offices now, doing absolutely nothing, and so I have a whole lot of time now, and I don't work weekends anymore. That was the fucking goal. So
Good shit.
now it is full steam ahead on this year's Halloween compilation with our crew.
Yep.
It's songs from me with my different fake bands and my main group, Monster and the Family. I just recorded a track yesterday, which will be the intro to the album. So the Halloween compilation is highly inspired by Rob Zombie's Halloween Hootenanny.
Hmm.
Uh, I always love like the old Halloween party discs, and even like Halloween sound effect discs and stuff.
Stuff that you could
And
throw on at a party or like when you're setting up decorations on Halloween night when people come
yeah,
by.
yeah, and there's just certain songs that you play during Halloween parties that should be played, but Halloween parties that I go to, it always pisses me off because it's like, motherfucker, where's the Halloween music? You know, you're playing Hysteria from fucking Rihanna or whatever the fuck. What? Why? Because the word hysteria is in it. You know,
uh,
fucking, you're playing
yeah.
somebody's watching me. You know, like motherfucker, that's not a I'll accept Thriller. I will accept Thriller. Uh, because that to me is a pretty Halloweeny song,
Sure.
especially with the Vincent Price narration and stuff. But yeah, it's like, where's the fucking Monster Mash? Where's the goddamn
Monster Mash. Whatever happened
one-eyed
to my
Tom Horn
Transylvania twist?
fucking purple people eater? Like, give me this classic Halloween shit. Give me some Screaming Lord Hutch, Screaming Lord Such. Uh,
Screaming Jay Hawkins, man.
Yeah, throw some Hawkins on there. Shit. So, we did the one a couple of years ago, and I thought it went well. And I didn't know, after we did the Christmas album last year, I didn't think we were going to do another compilation because David, who's a main driving force along with me now, he's working on a solo
Rad.
album, and I'm working on my next solo album. And then he had said, "Yeah, man, next Halloween album." I was like, "Do you want to do another one?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, let's fucking do it." So yeah, I did. I did a song for my Go Go Ghoulies project, which is inspired by horror surf shit like the Ghastly Ones and the Bomboras and
Love it.
that, huh?
I said love it.
Yeah, like just that kind of shit. Which you can thank the Munsters for sort of establishing Halloween surf rock,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and so yeah, the last album started with a Go Go Ghoulies track that I had made for uh, God damn it, Alex Edwards from the Skeleton Crew and Dan Chase and all them.
Shout
And,
out.
huh?
Shout out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I was like, well, this next one's got to start with another Go Go Ghoulies just to set the fucking tone. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what's going on. I did that. I just got to add drums and like ghostly sound effects and shit to it.
Yeah,
And
me and my buddy Jared have been meeting up every Monday. We want to get a song on that compilation album because we have a sick riff that it's one of the first riffs we actually came up with, and we've been going back and forth retooling the lyrics to a track called Satan's Geisha. So we really want to come together on this one, record it nicely. It's definitely the first real musical undertaking we're doing, but I think it'll fit the Halloween album, and I think it'll be a nice introductory to like what we're trying to go for. Like nothing super official yet, but we could at least like put our band name out there and get it started. So super
yeah,
excited to
yeah.
get working on that.
Because a real fun thing about doing these compilations is the fact that it allows everybody to just have fun and do something either out of their wheelhouse or something completely within their wheelhouse. I tell everybody, I'm like, make whatever you want, man, as long as it fits the theme. It could be a metal song, it could be serious, it could be dark, it could be silly, it could be funny, or it could be all of that. It could be anything, any genre you want. As long as there's something Halloweeny about it.
It's kind of
Think,
like that DVD not zombies. God, it was something crashed at Pajama Party where it's just a DVD full of just extras, basically, and short films and menus. Cinemassacre talked about it once, but it's like the perfect background for like a Halloween party because it's nothing you got to pay attention to. It's just kind of like you put it on and it's that vibe. And it's the same thing with a compilation album where it's like all the songs are going to be different, but they're all going to be under that common theme. And I do have to admit that the sound of Satan's Geisha probably is not going to be the common sound that me and Jarrett release future music with, because we've noticed that in our jams, we kind of got like a dark Western kind of thing going on. Whereas Satan's Geisha, you pointed it out when I've been sending you some of my vocal stuff. I'm kind of feeling something a little more Danziggy for for this kind of song, something kind of bluesy. I showed Jarrett NIB by Black Sabbath. I'm like, maybe something like of this ilk, but a little slower. And there's also, I just remembered that Carpenter inspired keyboard track that I sent you that I could re record.
yeah, 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 and shit. Yeah, if y'all want to do both on there, go ahead. But yeah, so we're looking for a mid to late September release for that. But y'all be on the lookout.
Absolutely. That sounds about fair. Like tomorrow I'm meeting up with them and I want to really focus in on Satan's Geisha, because it's something we've kind of been tooling, but not something we've necessarily been like hashing out and jamming, more so with the lyrics and just that one riff. So we definitely got to build a bridge.
Yeah, and I hate writing bridges.
Right? It's especially for someone like me where it's like this is all still like so new. I'm kind of just like learning by ear right now. Um but hey, I mean, as long as it sounds good like in the recording, that's what we're satisfied with. So it's kind of like make it up as you go along type stuff.
Yeah, yeah. As long as it sounds cool, that's all that matters. But we're finally here. The
At the
final,
Munsters.
the final Rob Zombie film as
Yeah, as of right now, this is his last movie, and I want to say this right off the bat, because this movie got a slew of negative reactions, and Rob's a pretty resilient guy. Um, I really hope this doesn't discourage him from going out of his wheelhouse again, because he's always been a guy to like keep to the tropes, but also go out of his comfort zone. Give us a Lords of Salem, give us an El Super Beasto. This is his first family movie, and I didn't hate it. So I, hope that if he could survive the critical backlash of the Halloween movies, like we could definitely see more interesting projects like this from him that aren't necessarily, what I mean? I don't think he needs to go back to the Firefly Fly family anytime soon. This is like a weird evolution of his
yeah,
filmography where it seems like a really fitting ending right now, where we end on something that's just really near and dear to Rob's heart.
yeah. And I remember when the reports first started coming out about this movie. Um, I was all in from the get go. I was like,
Same.
this is going to fucking be awesome. And then there started being those memes. The memes were hilarious. Like it was like pictures of the original Munsters cast, but it would be like Rob Zombie's the Munsters, and it'd be like, "What the fuck is up, Herman, motherfucker?" You know. I was like, that's fucking perfect. But I was like, and this is before like any info was really coming out. I was like, he's gonna make it true to the original series. It's not gonna be some hyper violent shit. And I said, he's gonna be fucking damned if he does and damned if he don't. Because you're gonna have people that want the hyper violence, but the Munsters doesn't need that shit. And then there's gonna be people that are like, oh, he's making a fucking family movie. It's
And then there's going to be the people who aren't really familiar with Rob at all, but are just like, who needs another reboot and a prequel? You know what I mean? Where it's like they immediately just poo poo it. Where this is actually like, in my opinion, one of the better reboots slash
yeah,
prequels that have come out recently, like adaptation wise.
you're like breaking up badly.
Let me see if I can fix that. I'm connected to everything just fine. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Uh, yeah, this was definitely going to be better than that Mockingbird Lane reboot that they tried to do, where it was like, I remember, I think it was Eddie Izzard was Grandpa, and
Yeah.
they tried to make it like
Jerry
the
O'Connell
serious
as
version.
Herman.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the full thing, but it just seemed like kind of a like a Riverdale version of the Munsters in a way, like for Riverdale.
I was I was only interested because Brian Fuller handled it, and I loved the shit out of Brian Fuller with Pushing Daisies, the Hannibal series. Like he's the fucking shit. But there's almost like a curse on him where anything he gets a hold of, nobody they let him have enough control, and then shit goes off the rails. It gets canceled too early, or they don't let him do what he wants to do, and he leaves. And I think he also did that show Dead to Me, Um,
He's got a Friday the 13th show in the works, like a Crystal Lake show, supposedly. So hopefully it doesn't fall victim to like, because it's not his fault. It's more so like how the business is run and how they crank out shows and then cancel them early. Hannibal fucking rules.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
completely get where you're coming from with that, where that could have lasted a lot longer.
yeah. And it was originally supposed to be a series, but after they had finished that pilot, they said, "Oh no, this will just be a one-off Halloween special." And but I'm gonna dude, ever since the original series of the Munsters ended, it's like they never really knew what the fuck to do with this property at all.
They would do
They
a
did a
couple of
few,
movies.
yeah, they did like Munster Go Home, which is pretty fucking classic. But like everything after that, I have not been a fan of. Munsters Today had some moments, but it was pretty fucking atrocious. Uh, and the 90s movies were just lame as hell. And I even, I enjoyed that different take uh, of the Mockingbird Lane show, but I was like, I'm like, I was pissed that okay, so now it's a one-off thing. I was like, all right, so I would have loved to see where y'all would have taken this, but now that it's a one-off project, it's pretty useless at this point.
It's wasted
And
potential.
yeah, which I hate to say it, this Munsters, the Rob Zombies Munsters, is my favorite version of the Munsters since the original series. But at the same time, it falls under the same trappings as Mockingbird Lane because there's wasted potential. Because Zombie said he's not gonna make any sequels or anything to it. So I'm like, y'all put all this hard work into building these amazing sets and all this shit only to do your prequel and be done with it. I'm like, there when we go through the recap, there are several points where I'm like, this could be something else later on, or this could be something else later on that could really work. So I love the shit out of this movie, but when I watch it, I get so disappointed when I think that there's not going to be any more.
Yeah, like I suggested in I believe the 31 podcast, where it's like even like an animated Monsters, we haven't really I believe we haven't really gotten before. And, I want to see Rob get more into animation. And I think, these characters are safe in his hands where he's proven that he's not just going to turn them into like, I'm the Midnight Wolfman, motherfucker. Like Lester isn't saying that, you know. Uh, I don't know, man. Like I
Yeah.
agree with you that I think it has potential, but I also walked away super satisfied where like all the prequel elements, all the I think it was like a perfect fit, like a lead into the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and
With
it
some
does it
questions here and there,
it does a few prequel things that normally annoy me in other prequels, but to me it's fine in this because it's not such a big focus. Whereas take that Han Solo movie, oh, this is how he got his name Solo. This is where he got his gun. Like
It's
stupid
all in
shit
one
like,
adventure.
huh?
And it's all in one adventure. Like this stuff that you would assume
Yeah.
like takes a lifetime to acquire, like it all happened in one short span of time.
Yeah, and I'm like, why can't his name just fucking be Han Solo? Why does that need an origin? You know what I mean? Why can't his name just fucking be Han Solo? Why does it have to
Yeah,
be a name given
this movie
so
doesn't get
fucking.
caught in like the trappings of like the overthinking of a prequel. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like it just kind of gets to the basics of setting up where they need to be for the show.
yeah, like this it does. You see where they get Spot. And there doesn't have to be like, a a big thing about it. They just get a pet on their honeymoon, you know?
It was a big deal when the cast was announced that that's where it became apparent that it was going to be a prequel, was that there was none of the kids cast in the
Yeah,
in
yeah, because originally I thought he was gonna go full on, you know, Marilyn, Eddie, and then when the cast was announced, I was like, okay, no, you all right, all right. Now who's gonna be Eddie? You know, who's gonna be Marilyn? And none of that happened because at the same time, I was like, you know, these actors are old enough to play, you know, older married couple, Herman and Lily and Grandpa.
Yeah, and it's so funny how they kind of successfully pull off the younger versions of them. Like I would say Daniel Roebuck and Jeff Daniel Phillips, like for sure. But it is weird when it's like you do actually look up the cast's age and you're like, wow. Because I made a note about that where it's like Grandpa's always talking about his darling Lily, like she's this fragile teenage schoolgirl. But then when you're first introduced to her, it's a 53-year-old Sherry Moon Zombie. And I mean, that's not like a knock at her. She looks fucking fantastic. Like wine hasn't aged as good as Sherry Moon Zombie has, but it's still noticeable. Where it's like, it's just like,
Yeah, and but then like also, you know, later on you get that great line with, "Oh, you know, I'm too young for kids. You know, I'm only 150." But you know what
yeah,
they say, 150 is the new 100.
yeah, that's the loophole in it. That it's like, and that's what I like about Grandpa too. That it's like you could definitely see him like growing into the jovial grandpa from the show once he gets his grandkids and Herman's like proven himself to him. But I like how
Yeah,
here, like he's not super mean spirited, but he's a grouch at first, like a
yeah,
typical dad shit, you know?
yeah. And another thing that was tripping me out when they first started announcing cast members, all of the made up characters for the movie. I was like, whoa, like he's like straight up adding motherfuckers, like Richard Brake as Augustus Wolfgang or whatever the fuck, and
And
uh,
Hurley from Lost as Floop.
yeah, fucking Jorge Garcia as Floop. And I was like, all right, you know, this is fucking cool. He's doing a Rob Zombie thing, just adding all these characters, you know, but I thought that he kind of fleshed out their world pretty fucking well.
That's what I was about to say. That not only he added to like the spooky universe of like what other characters could be like walking around the Munsters universe, um, but also just with like I don't know how he writes the side characters and stuff like that. It I don't know. Let me try to find the right wording for it.
Like
It
they all
fits
have
me
a purpose and they all have enough screen time to be pretty damn memorable.
well. He's like building on the Munsters family tree, which I think is pretty interesting. That's what I was trying to
Yeah.
articulate.
And
Is
what I
that
think is great is the fact that he's building on the lore that's kind of already there. Because in the original series, you know, you would get like one-off comments about their lives in Transylvania and stuff. And so I think he really spent a whole lot of time sort of building that, which I think, which is the thing I love about this movie, is the fact that a majority of it takes place in Transylvania, and you can just see the little world that they live in and the creatures that inhabit that world. And so I thought that was a really cool idea. Uh,
which helps it stand on its own while still feeling like within the world. And then as the movie goes on, the typical Munsters gags start to become implemented as the family becomes more established.
yeah, because you know all the everything ever from the Munsters has been the Munsters in our reality, you know. So it is really cool to see them sort of in their environment.
On their
Uh,
home turf.
yeah, and uh, then I like that he throws in a lot of characters from the show. You've got Lily's brother Lester. You get goddamn Uncle Gilman.
Yeah, that's a deep cut right there.
Yeah, and another little deep cut is Gateman, Goodberry, and Graves, because that's the funeral home that Herman works at. But in the series, you only ever saw Mr. Gateman.
Which I love them in this.
Yeah. See, which is another thing where I'm like, man, you gotta make more of these, damn it, Rob, make at least two more. Like, make a neat little trilogy, you know?
Well, you know why I think this is so fitting at the end of the retrospective, and this is gonna blow your mind, is as much as this is like a reboot of the Munsters, it's like also weirdly enough, like it could be seen as a biopic about Rob Zombie and Sherry Moon Zombie because it's basically about this, young, like lumbering rock star who makes this freaky music with nonsensical lyrics, and that kind of music attracts his Lily, Sherry Moon Zombie to him and stuff like that. When you start to look at it like that as like a metaphor for their relationship, it starts to become super romantic. Like I have a subtitle for this.
Yeah.
My made up subtitle for this movie is When Herman Met Lily.
Yeah, there you go. When Herman met Lily. And so then, he started showing more and more. And yeah, then we realized, okay, so this is a prequel. And then, the moment this movie was announced, people didn't give it a chance. And so when he started, Rob Zombie on his Facebook page, man, like, was posting like crazy all these pictures. And when they built the fucking Mockingbird Lane set from the ground up, I was mighty impressed. I was like, man, you guys are working your ass off to make this thing as authentic as fucking possible. And
And because it's a prequel, he was still able to incorporate like some of his Rob Zombie tropes. Like one of the first things I noticed is like, oh, Grandpa's got a bit of a mustache going on.
yeah, and I love the look of the characters. Every single character in here, the look, they look close enough to the original characters, but at the same time, they have a little bit of added things like, scars on Herman's face, just to make them, look.
A little more gnarly, but still like kid friendly.
Yeah.
And he's got those really sunken in eyes that I've noticed are a big detail that's different from well, I mean Herman had the sunken in eyes too, but they're really outlined in this
Yeah.
version. And it could just be because it's not in black and white, and the quality of the cameras.
And I think this is the best design of the characters since the original series, especially Herman. I think
Yeah, for sure.
I think this is the best looking Herman since fucking Fred Gwynn.
Well,
And
because you also run the gamut of all the classic Herman attires. Like that's another reason why I think it's a metaphor for Rob and Sherry is when Herman's performing his damn song, notice how he's specifically dressed in the Dragula uniform.
yeah.
I'm just saying, pretty interesting. But
Really is.
and especially it's satisfying when he finally goes to get a job and then he's in the classic Herman getup. We've kind of
Eh,
seen him, my favorite outfit in the whole thing is when he's taking Lily out for the first time and Rob Zombie puts him in this outfit that's clearly inspired by the Son of Frankenstein.
Oh yeah. The big furry vest. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that was sick.
He mentions that on the commentary uh, about that. He's like, he was like, yeah, it's a very Son of Frankenstein look, and he said he didn't want to have Herman in his normal clothes until at the end of the movie.
When he finally becomes a man.
But so as far as performances go, the standout actors in this movie to me are obviously fucking Richard Brake. Being able to see him be with him and Jorge's chemistry is fantastic.
I agree. I like
Uh,
he's one of the best characters in the movie, Richard Brake, and I already loved him like when I first saw the movie. Excuse me. But after watching stuff like 31 and 3 from Hell, I'm really able to appreciate just how wacky he is in this movie. You know what I mean? How he's not just doing like a Doomhead or his typical like hillbilly stuff. He went full Peter Cushing, Hammer horror,
yeah,
lunatic.
and he played it pretty serious at times, and then other times the overacting is hilarious.
And he's like one of the few people where like the modern jokes in the writing or the modern terminology actually like works to his favor because he's so prim and proper. Like I always think the line where he's like not conceited, just dropping ice cold facts, and he does that little fucking dipping motion. Like that's hilarious to me.
Yeah, man, and then Jorge as Floop, uh, fucking hilarious, especially when he becomes Herman's rock star manager.
I need some singles. I need some hits.
Fucking
I
good
love that
shit.
he's technically really Herman's dad because he coins the last name.
Yeah, he coins both names, really.
So really, he's the true mad genius.
Yeah, it's such a Pinky in the Brain, Abbott and Costello, your classic super smart guy and super simple guy paired together. It's your Laurel and Hardy, uh, and I think it works fucking great. Uh,
He's got his little pet cockroach Ernie.
yeah, and which when we get there, it's a fun play on the "It's Alive" gag. But man, so those two are massive standouts, especially for characters who are brand new to the franchise.
Yeah, they're pretty instantly likable. Even with their banter, it doesn't become annoying. You kind of want to see what they're gonna do next, especially because I didn't expect fucking Floop to become a manager. And
Seriously.
what happens to the doctor? He starts getting like an infection on his face and shit.
Yeah.
Richard Brake just gives up halfway through and he's just sitting around in his t-shirt moping.
Yeah. I'm ruined. And then the other performances, the main three, Daniel Roebuck as Grandpa, or in this case, he's not Grandpa yet. Right now, he's technically just Count Dracula.
The
Uh,
Count.
yeah, probably my favorite out of the three. He went full fucking Al Lewis. Uh, it's fucking amazing. Like this is probably gonna annoy people when I say this, but it is perfect casting and such care and love to the original character, like Matthew Lillard being Shaggy.
I could see it, dude. And also, like, if we're just talking Rob Zombie retrospective, it's good to see Daniel Roebuck in a starring role after
Yeah,
all these years of him just being on the sideline. It's like this is his payoff for the years of loyalty to Rob, that he
yeah,
gets his time to shine in a really awesome role. He gets some of the best zingers in the movie.
he damn sure does. Like Herman gives him that bottle of blood. He's like, yeah, it's a good year. He's like, uh, God, what does he say? Fuck. Oh god damn it! I can't remember the line.
Yeah,
But
I didn't get that one down, but as we go down the review, like I got a ton of quotes written down. I think he probably is the best of the main family, but I really love Jeff Daniel Phillips as Herman because he knew that he couldn't nobody could beat Fred Gwynn. But I think he gets such a fucking bad rep just because, oh, the Geico caveman. He's got the laugh down, and then he brings his own kind of like teenage monster who was literally born yesterday vibe to
yeah,
the Herman character, where you could tell the Herman from the show that we all know and love is in there. He just literally hasn't matured to that level yet.
yeah. The laughing, but in fact, both laughs. The the real sort of hissy, out of breath kind of thing,
Yeah, yeah,
and the big
yeah.
like on fucking point. And the stomping, a lot of his movements, some of his movements are a little exaggerated, but some of the movements, like his stomping around and stuff, like straight fucking perfect.
The
And
one
his
thing they
body
didn't
suit,
do, the
huh?
one thing they didn't do as a massive Munsters fan is he never really does that roar that he does in the show when he gets pissed. He
Yeah,
sometimes does like this fucking King Kong roar.
yeah. But I will say sometimes his voice annoys me when he gets into that sort of screechy, yeah, and it annoys me slightly, but like you said, I got to remember, like, the motherfucker was born yesterday. He's just now, his body is remembering how to talk.
His
Because when
balls
you
are
look
still
at
dropped.
Fred Gwynn's portrayal, like, he was very reserved and a lot of the times, and his voice was, he just had that really cool old sitcom dad voice. But this isn't that Herman yet. We still have 50, 60 years. Who knows how old they are when they have these children.
Yeah, and I definitely see what you mean where like at its worst he kind of sounds like the teenage clerk from The Simpsons, just kind of a little bit of that voice cracky kind of
Yeah.
see. But sometimes that works to the benefit. Like there's we need some hits. Rome wasn't built in a day, but then he does like that, yes, but I do believe I was. He does kind of like that mumbly Leslie Nielsen kind of humor, but thankfully it's more of like a Frank Drebin sometimes kind of delivery, as opposed to Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Yeah, because he also does that. I like when some of his silly dad jokes, uh, especially the remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I really like those deliveries.
It's
So
corny but like self-aware of it, so you're not really like rolling your eyes, you're just kind of laughing along with it, at least from my perspective, because again, it's a Munsters movie where it's going to be quaint, it's going to be corny, and it's family style humor, you know what I mean? So it's not going to be something you got to sit and stroke your beard to, you know what I mean? It's very immediate, slapsticky, visual humor. But what's surprising about this movie is you do get away with a lot of quick one-liner zingers where it's like that was a clever line on Rob's part that I think just gets like overlooked. There's a
mhm.
plenty of lines like that where I'm like that was smart. And some adult jokes in there that I actually didn't notice till this watch.
And so then we're down to Sherry Moon as Lily, and I am not gonna lie. I thought she did a fantastic job as well.
I think she did good, but not to be mean, I do think out of the main three, she is probably the weakest link. Not just that, not that she's bad, but to me personally, she kind of just gave more of a Morticia, like an up. If Morticia was more bubbly, I didn't
Yeah, it did have
necessarily
that
get Lily
vibe,
vibes yet.
but I think what Sherry Moon really did nail were a lot of the movements.
Oh, for sure. The body
the-
language is on
yeah,
point.
like the hands being up, and she just got a lot of the movements down.
How
The
they frame her
voice,
with the Rob Zombie symmetry, like this, since this is Rob Zombie's first kids movie, he kind of like copied his own homework. Like there's that one montage where Herman's moping around his studio, and we cut to uh Lily going to her coffin, and it's like the exact same shots from Lords of Salem, but now kids can see it.
yeah,
But
damn,
the body language is on point. I do got to give it to her. Like again, it's not a bad performance. It's just more than likely probably could have gotten another actress for this, but it's a Rob Zombie movie, and it's she gets some good lines in there. I'm not gonna like shit on the whole thing. You know what I mean? I still think she did good for what the script required.
yeah, and for another movie where she is a main lead, she's pretty fucking good. I think she holds her own with everybody else, and actually has some really funny deliveries, especially at the beginning of the movie. Um,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, I don't
And
think
it's
she's
cooler
bad.
that we see her doing a more deeper voiced Herman. Like it's not the baby voice, it's not the Sherry Moon voice that we're typically used to. Dude, she sings like Cher in this movie. That
Right.
actually forgot about that. That's sick.
And yeah, that is really her and really Jeff singing.
Well,
Uh,
she's carrying that part. Not gonna lie, as much as I just praised Jeff Daniel Phillips, like she is carrying that montage on her back.
yeah, his singing is pretty bad, but it's meant to be. But I didn't know
It's a
Sherry
little
could
too
sing that well.
Carey.
Like,
It's less Herman, and that's very Jim Carrey-ish, where he's gonna dress up like the character and do the over the top. He's like the genie from Aladdin.
or it's almost very much like when Jim Carrey on the Cable Guy sang that "Don't you want somebody to love?
Yeah,
Don't."
when the truth is found to be.
Yeah, yeah. But so like I think she's fantastic too. I mean, man, I think everybody brought their fucking A game in this movie. Uh,
Before we continue, like because it goes along with what we're saying, I only got one comment on my Facebook post, but
oh
I'm
yeah,
very excited to share it because she is a loyal follower of my other Facebook page, Danny Elfman Boingo posting.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
so
I
hopefully I
didn't
don't
get
butcher the
any
name.
this time.
What was that?
I didn't get any comments this time to read.
Dick lickers. Come on.
Come on, Dick Lickers,
Quit licking that dick and
join the
write the
fun.
comments. So hopefully I don't butcher the name, but thank you so much for your comment, Amy Burick or Amy Burick. I'm gonna say Burick because it's the Munsters, and I'm gonna go spooky pun. Um, Burick, but she says I enjoyed it. Sometimes I think people forget that movies can be campy and kitsch, and 100%,
Yeah,
100%, short, sweet, and to the point. Thank you so much for your comment, Amy. Because I wholeheartedly agree that this didn't need to be anything else than what it was. And for what it was still better than I thought it was going to be.
yeah, because a lot of people too were complaining that the movie was too campy, and I'm like, motherfuckers, did you ever see the show?
That's the thing.
I mean, the show was Leave It to Beaver with monsters, like,
And if anyone has seen the show, it's definitely Rob Zombie.
yeah. What the hell did you expect this to look like or be like?
You remember the episode of MTV Cribs where they're going through his house and it's like half the posters in the living room. Like he has to stop just to say it. He's like, I'm a huge Monsters fan.
Yeah. He had a cool fucking house there. I don't know if he's still in that house or not.
I
Oh,
doubt it, but I hope he is because that
yeah.
shit. Like I go back to that often. They had the pirate bar.
Yeah, and then I remember he had that one room where he was painting the wall up like Nightmare Before Christmas, and then he said he just kind of gave up.
Yeah. My favorite is them just going through the normal ass kitchen. It's like this whole like almost Guillermo del Toro's house, and then the kitchen's just a normal ass like wood paneling. And Sherry's like barely in there. Like she was, I don't think they were married yet during the cribs, so she doesn't say anything. She's just kind of standing there like holding food and smiling.
Yeah, and a lot of people really wouldn't know who she was if it wasn't for his movies really putting her out there, to tell you the truth. She was in his videos all the time. She was the Living Dead girl and stuff. And at the time, it was just, oh yeah, it's Rob Zombie's girlfriend, or Rob Zombie's wife, da 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 da. So
Do we want
you
to do this
definitely
quick?
see her. You
Do we want
definitely
to do
see
this
her
quick?
a lot more.
Yeah, you first.
Yeah, you just definitely see her and get to know her a lot more after the movies started happening.
And I do think she should get roles. I mean, I know it would be weird at this point, but like I would definitely cast her in a voice role for like a cartoon or something like that, where give her a chance to act outside of the Rob verse. I know that's again what I've argued is that this is their whole creative relationship and stuff like that, but I would be down to see her in other horror movies or just other roles in general, just to
Yeah, I
give
think
her a
she's
shot.
in some other horror movie like The Toolbox or something, or The Toolbox Murders or some shit.
Huh. What was that, like a direct to video kind of
More
thing?
than
Or
likely, yeah. Which, speaking of which, when this movie was first being talked about, a lot of rumors started coming out like out of nowhere. Like the movie, he got $40 million to make this movie, and that it was going to go to theaters, and it was going to go to or be a Peacock exclusive. And then when he announced, when they first showed the first trailer, people started bitching. What? This cost $40 million, and then they started bitching. It's going to be on Netflix. And like motherfuckers, who cares? And number two, like, even if he didn't have $40 million to make this movie, which apparently he didn't. He hadn't really said what the budget was, but it looks pretty fucking good to be technically a straight to fucking video movie. Like, it is one of the better looking straight to video movies I've ever seen in my life.
yeah, Rob actually took to social media and he's like, I don't know where this rumor began, like where you thought I would get this much money for a Munsters movie. And to counter argue that, that's one of the notes I have here is it's another reason why I champion this movie is that it's refreshing to see a new movie that like I could probably film. You know what I mean? Where it's not
Yeah,
this
like
high budget
it's
CG.
everything looks like it can be touched.
This looks like everything was made by humans. Like
And
there's
it
some
really
of it
was, dude.
in
That
CG.
that fucking the creation scene when they're bringing Herman to life, that was some random fucking abandoned power plant they found in Hungary.
Of course, it's Hungary.
Yeah, like they filmed the whole movie in Hungary, and
So that goes
so
to show
all
right
of
there, it's
those
not
all of those
$40 million.
like the exteriors and shit, that the castle that the count lives in, that's a real fucking place. Uh, like it's pretty freaking incredible.
And
The little town they're in, like all that shit is like really fucking there.
and this is what I mean about Rob shouldn't be discouraged to do more movies like this because typically, like another note that I have is that his music video editing and style gets criticized in his more adult movies, where here I really like the close up, like almost creep show, like comic book panel, like when Herman comes to life or when they notice each other and fall in love.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's
yeah. The little
crazy
backgrounds,
close
like
ups.
he said, he straight up got that idea from Creepshow.
It rules, and it's like again something straight out of his music videos, but implemented in a way that we haven't seen before. And again, it introduces, I mean, it sounds weird, but it's like it introduces kids to Rob Zombie in a way where they actually like, I mean, know he's getting hurt. You know what I mean? When they get older, they could check out his other shit.
Mm-hmm.
But with that,
Yeah.
let's get into it.
Let's get into it, man. The movie starts off with the classic Universal logo. and I love it.
Me too. You got the little plane on the string going around with the sound, and then we open on a classic wolf howl, which is pretty much is the footage that the trailer pretty much opens up on.
Yeah, this whole little set, man, the fog and the cemetery, so fucking good. God, yeah. And we're introduced.
Loop.
And this is also not, this is Universal, but it's the 1440 Universal, which is their direct to video production house. But man, so we're introduced to Floop and Augustus Wolfgang, and they are robbing some graves. Like just it's so classic, old school Universal to me.
It's classic setup, but they got the funny banter going on, and then we also got a fucking zombie running around.
Yeah, yeah.
A very proper zombie. Indeed, I am.
It's a very proper zombie.
It should have been Malcolm.
Yeah,
Welcome to my crypt.
And I love he wanted to make it in black and white, but they wouldn't let him, so he went hardcore on the colors and the oversaturated look. And that's another thing that I really do like about this movie is the colors straight up pop. The colors complement each other. It's fantastic. But then there's not a whole lot of color in the beginning here, so it's like he uses it in spots where it really needs to be. I think he used color pretty fucking great in this damn movie.
Absolutely. Like the color is used appropriately. It still feels like Munsters just brought into the new era, and like you said, with that creep show update, giving it kind of like a comic booky feel. And it just gets you in the mood right away. I do kind of wish that there was a black and white cut of it, but it's not like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, because here's the thing, I got it on Blu-ray. I don't see why you couldn't just make a black and white version to watch, on the DVD. I mean, you could just probably, I know you can, pop this DVD into your fucking movie maker, turn it to black and white,
and
render
bam,
that file, and boom, there's your black and white version.
You could even do an experiment like what people did with Planet of the Apes, where they put it in black and white and edited it down as like a Twilight Zone episode. You could like edit this movie down as just like the unseen pilot of the Munsters.
Yeah, and I love it when so Augustus realizes that this is the zombie, this is the body that they're looking for. And so he says that he's like this great piano player and that he wants his hands. But I like it when he wants to get a picture with him. And he's like, yeah, go ahead and smile. Oh, you can smile bigger than that. So then he like does this finger point. He's like, no, don't do the finger. And he does the peace sign. He's like, no, don't do that either.
A little bit of a duck face going on. So there's like some of that selfie humor. But the whole time I was thinking the only thing that would make this funnier is if every time Floop took a picture, you got that little Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, that would have been great.
But Richard Brake's face is fucking priceless as he's pointing at the body.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So then they load him up, and you got Floop carrying the carriage. It's pretty funny. He's like, why didn't we get a horse?
And it's funny how, so we already have like an Igor later in the movie. It's like you would expect Floop to be named Igor, but if I remember correctly, Igor is technically in the original show as well, just like
he's a
string.
Pet bat. He's a pet bat in the show, so you sort of get his little origin too, because he's the Count's butler in here, and yeah, turns him into a bat to get him on the flight. Which I'm kind of like, you couldn't just put him on the plane with everybody else. Why'd you have to turn him to a bat? I don't really understand that, but we had to make him a bat. He's a bat in the series.
Plus, most of Igor's lines don't really land, despite like an honestly decent delivery from the actor. Like it's not the actor's fault; just half of his lines just kind of fall flat.
Yeah, and he is also he is the seventh Doctor from Doctor Who.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so
So under all that makeup,
yeah, you got some royalty in this movie.
and
Um,
he's fucking Igor.
yeah. So then it cuts to our introduction of the Count, which I think is great. Uh, he rises from the coffin and then backs out again, backs out again.
Yeah, it's predictable, but it's just goofy enough. And again, it's the perfect introduction to see Daniel Roebuck like officially in the role. And then this is where he starts popping off with like a little bit of the adult humor, but not too Rob Zombie ish. Where he's like, "Oh, Igor, you got to do the thing with my back again. You know, once you hit 300, everything goes, and I mean
Yeah,
everything."
yeah, I mean everything, and he's always that pesky L4. But man, what a great fucking just what a great set, man. The interiors of their house, it's phenomenal shit to look at. It's up there. I put this movie up there with House of a Thousand Corpses in terms of set design and shit,
For sure.
because there is so much shit to look at, and you know, it's like, damn, man, y'all went hardcore putting all this shit together. And a lot of his movies, you know, after, you know, the set design wasn't as extravagant. And I think this really matches that in a way.
I agree. You know, that it kind of has that Dr. Wolfenstein kind of vibe to it, especially when they keep cutting back to the different shows on TV. But also just, yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses would be the first movie that comes to mind just because of all the knickknacks in the background and all
Yeah,
just
just
the wear
shit
and
everywhere.
tear, how you
It's
feel the
just,
years of this place.
yeah, yeah. It just looks so lived in. It's so real and tangible. Uh, and everything looks practical too. Like fucking, it's incredible. It is motherfucking incredible. But one
It's
thing I did want to say is there's something about this movie's look and feel. It feels so much like a Fox Family TV movie or TV series like circa 1998.
like in Are You Afraid of the Dark or something like that.
Like it has vibes of that. I think it might have been ABC Family at this point, but it's got vibes of that new Adams Family show that they tried to do.
Yeah.
It might have still been Fox Family at that point. But it's got those kind of vibes, but it's not as atrocious.
Not as forced either.
Yeah. Um,
Though I will say, like, what this all leads to with Igor and Grandpa is that he's like, "Where's Lily? Oh, she's out on her date with Count Orlok."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, this is some of the funniest shit in the fucking movie to me. Uh, with goddamn her date with Count Orlok. And so this is Orlok, man. This is also Richard Brake playing Orlok.
That's so funny. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, and what a fantastic performance. And this is technically Orlok from Nosferatu, and it is so fucking funny, man. She's having a horrible date.
At a mummy themed restaurant.
Yeah, at a mummy ass themed restaurant. And man, so what I think is really funny is he's showing these pictures of his pet rats, and it's like he's the equivalent, he's the Transylvania equivalent of the crazy cat lady,
Yeah.
and he's showing the pictures of the rats, and they got these normal ass names. They're like, oh, he's such a cut up.
And she's just looking around. Like, it does establish Lily's character arc for the beginning of this movie, that she's seeing, proposals happening all around, and that, Lily's loneliness is growing as she just can't find the right fit. And he's just getting more and more awkward. There's the rats. He's eating like a fucking slob.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love that dance he does later.
Oh man, when he brings her home, and she thinks that he's about to propose to her, and he starts dancing to this disco vampire shit. It is fucking hilarious to me.
In the background, it's like sexy, sexy.
Yeah, man. It got disco vampire.
Yeah,
Oh,
like even the background tracks in this movie are pretty catchy.
yeah, and it's a fake band in the movie. What, like Dead Bats or some shit? Devil Bats.
There's a
Uh,
lot of rave scenes in this, honestly.
yeah, which is like I fucking dig it, man. Like the little nightclub and shit.
Again,
Damn.
kids a little taste of Halloween too. Like this is the going out to the Halloween party
Yeah,
scene.
we're going to go see Captain Clegg. Oh, he's a naughty boy.
Hey kids, it's Captain Clegg. Applause. I think the Orlok scene for me personally was a little awkward, but it still works to establish, like I said, Lily's character arc. I just feel like, and I mean, it was intentionally meant to be awkward, but I feel like you get what I'm saying. Some of the comedy probably didn't land the way they intended.
Yeah,
But
I think.
this is Rob's second, like, straight up comedy, though, so I give him some leeway.
Yeah, yeah. So then we cut to fucking Lily's brother Lester, which I like what they did with the character here, because in the original series he was also a scheming kind of werewolf guy, but I like what they do with him in this, where he's like trying to talk with all this hip ass lingo and shit.
He's a swinging man. I kind of almost wish he was played by Ken Foree, because that's like the attitude he kind of fucking gives off.
Yeah, right. That Ken Foree probably would have been too perfect, man. He would have been great.
No,
But
that's just not going to work out.
yeah, so Lester meets up with these two gypsies, Zoya, who,
And Bella.
yeah,
Nice
it
little Bella Lugosi.
turns out to be the count, the count's ex-wife. But I love it when it cuts to uh, that picture of the count really quick in the little heart frame,
Hmm.
which is kind of a foreshadow because it is sort of a twist that you find out that she's his ex.
Well,
And
yeah, there has to be like a connection here somewhere, because like we know about Lester, and then obviously this is where Eddie falls into the equation, that there's something in the family tree here, but he's not like related. He's like stepbrother to Lily.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so yeah, he calls him up, calls up Grandpa, talking about yeah, we can go ahead and get this scheme because he owes money to Zoya. And I like the old timey telephone, man. If I could find one of those that works, I will straight up get a landline just to use it.
Just to have it, and you can only call me there. This is Travis.
Yeah,
But I love the line that Grandpa says, where he's like, "I'd rather go into business with Jack the Ripper," and trust me, he's no Jack the Tipper.
yeah. And that's another that's such a grandpa sort of line. So then
Right,
it
exactly.
cuts
It's
to
the perfect amount of cheese.
yeah. Then it cuts to Orlok and Lily walking through this. Basically, it's Transylvania's idea of the ghetto,
Yeah,
the the bad side of town, and it's fucking hilarious, man. A bail bonds place and uh, skeevy massage parlors, prostitutes shouting shit.
exactly. You
Uh,
could just pause and look at all the different shops they set up just for one shot.
yeah, yeah, so fucking good.
And this is where we get the disco vampire She's like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, yeah, and I like that delivery too, where it's like she kind of just pauses and he's like ready, right? I love it when he stops his dance and the fucking confetti shoots out like just out of nowhere. Where did this come from?
Bro had the thing planned.
Yeah, like this is like the funniest part of the fucking movie to me, man.
And it's right off the bat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And she's just like pausing. I'm gonna go. Like, all right, yeah, yeah. You feel so
Yeah,
bad for Orlok.
poor Orlok.
But then I love this TV, Transylvania 666, and it's showing Abbott and Costello. But yeah, we get this. I love this, man. The news. This is other Rob Zombie shit that makes the world feel bigger, but it is a comedy version. You know, you get this news. The Sherry Moon as Donna Doomley. I need a Donna Doomley movie, man.
We will be bringing the news to you more as it breaks.
Yeah, and dude, Jeff Daniel Phillips looks ridiculous with this
And I
photo.
feel like, some people might be pissed on like this is where Herman's brain comes from, but me, I got no complaints. I'm like, makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's I'm down with it. I'm down with it. And then she at the same time, Rathbone's brother died, and he's the smartest man in Transylvania. So you have the fucking. And then I like it when the picture comes up and it says genius and idiot, and she's like, only a complete moron will mix these two people up.
Yeah, there's some funny cutaway gag where like it's Rathbone like explaining something to a crowd of people. He's like, I looked it up or something like that. He says something really ridiculous while trying to sound like super smart.
Yeah, so we got Floop. They're going to the funeral home to get the brain, and fucking Augustus wants the Smart Brothers brain. So this is some classic Frankenstein switcheroo.
He's like, sorry, buddy, I gotta take your brain.
Simply dropping ice cold facts. Giddy up, doggy. And I love this shit, man. He's like, I'm not a moron. I wrote it on my hand. He's like, remember, Shelley von Rathbone. No other brain shall do. He's like, what do I look like a moron?
Don't answer.
I wrote it on my hand. And I love the shit out of that.
And then, of course, he switches up the brain.
Yeah, obviously. And I like that. Dewdrop Funeral Home. But I love this shot, man. There's a lot of great shots in this movie where there's no cuts. Yeah, he walks into the funeral home. I love the way he looks. The skulls all over the wall in the cage. He's going through the different toe tags and trying to match the names with the one on his hand. So I guess he only wrote Rathbone because
He only took the time to write the last name.
yeah, and the camera just focuses in on the other toe tag with the correct Rathbone name.
You
Like,
fool.
we didn't see this coming.
Yuck. And then we got what we were talking about before. There's like the little creation montage where you're kind of seeing like what Lily's feeling while the man of her dreams is being born.
Yeah, this is great. I love this entire sequence of the movie.
Music
This,
for Miserable with fucking Boris Karloff's mummy on the album cover.
yeah, I love that music for the miserable. Oh yeah, good shit, dude. And these creepy little clown dolls and shit, dude. Like, I love the shit out of that. Like, fuck.
And then
I
we get
love
back
weird
to the
shit.
lab and we got a basic Uranus joke because they're trying to come up with what shall I name my modern Prometheus?
Yeah, it's like the god Uranus.
You're already giving them a pretty hard time with a name like that.
During the commentary, Rob said during this in the script they had, Floop eating the sandwich, and he said since they were in Hungary, apparently sandwiches over there are not our kind of sandwiches. So he said that the crew brought a big old plate with like these tiny 1 inch by 2 inch squares. He said they looked like brownies, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?" He's like, they're sandwiches. He's like, "Oh God, no!" So he said the crew was Googling American sandwiches and shit.
You never know what you're going to run into on a film set and what the next
Yeah,
issue is going to be. What
yeah.
I
I
did,
love Lily's bed, man. This is very Tim Burton right here. Her spider web nightgown and shit.
this is what
But
they
God,
did
I
with
love
the
these colors in the lab, dude. Just all this shit that's like, I don't know it. This is like a classic fucking monster lab. Just you don't know what none of this shit is or does, but it looks fucking cool.
all the lights and doodads. I was about to say, yeah, the very Tim Burton inspired bedroom. That might be what they did with the Nightmare Before Christmas room. After all,
Yeah.
put it in the Munsters.
Yeah, but now that you mention it, Project 27X67H doesn't have a ring to it. What you gonna name him? So I do think it's a little silly uh, where the name comes from,
Like the cheese.
and not even that, just how quick Floop is to just say the correct name that we know him as. I just think that's a little odd.
Yeah, they try to throw in a little backstory where it's like, I knew a fellow named Herman once, and he was a pretty swell guy. But it's like, yeah, just a blink and you'll miss it kind of line.
Which I'm fine with this because you could also complain that, oh, yeah, well, weren't you just saying about Han Solo being given his name? Well, I'm like, okay, well, this is a monster made of many different names. Each body part had a different name. Came
Yeah,
from
this is more
different.
so on the other Star Wars prequel kind of end, where it's like you get to episode 3, and Palpatine's just kind of like, you will be known as Darth Vader. And it's like no explanation. It's like, where'd that name come from? Like, where's
No, I love this, man. The screaming, "Are you ready, Flip?" You fucking the storm going on outside, man. It's just so awesome looking. The lightning going everywhere and shit, man. That ceiling was really part of the power plant. He said there was this crazy stained glass ceiling, man. It is wild. The shit they were able to find there and use.
And while scenes like this are going off, like I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like it's just amazing, like over the years, like the array of friends and family like Rob has made and lost on this mad movie journey that he's been through, and it's like we're sitting here now with Richard Brake just fucking screaming like a madman, and they're making a Munsters movie, you know what I mean? Stuff
Yeah,
that
you
Rob
got
probably didn't think he would do in like a million years.
Yeah, which is awesome because one thing too, speaking of, a family of cast members, in this scene, you have at this point, two veteran Rob Zombie actors with a brand new one. And I would love to see Jorge Garcia in more Rob Zombie projects.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's already got the beard for it. It's like just let him cook.
Because, you don't see him anywhere else, after Lost, unless you look at the Weezer album cover.
It's true.
I remember there was a scene of him and Walter on Fringe smoking weed together.
Yeah, he definitely just showed up in a bunch of different sitcoms from there because I know he definitely wasn't like out of work. You know what I mean? I would catch
Yeah,
him on like different shows every once in a while. So definitely getting his run as like a character actor, but here he gets like a full on supporting role basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And he gets the job done, man.
Like you said, he's one of the most memorable characters in the movie just with pure charisma because like he becomes somewhat of an antagonist, but he's never a dick. He's more of like a useful idiot.
Yeah, yeah. And I love this. The classic, the monster doesn't come alive, but his overacting here is hilarious. No, and he sits down and he just kind of thumps the doll over.
And he's putting his hands in his face like,
And we get, it's alive. It's like, yeah, my cockroach Ernie. I thought he was dead.
fucking smashes it. Ernie!
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he's still alive. I kind of want to hear Bill Moseley say that. Tough little bugger, isn't he? Weird that he's not in this movie either, but it's like, like you said, the choices that he did make of regulars he's going to keep and new blood that he's going to bring in, I think was very wisely chosen.
Yeah. Like another one, like the little person, I forget his name, who was in Three from Hell, and he played Doomhead, or Sickhead.
Yeah, he's like a new regular of Rob's. Like,
Yeah, see, I would love to see him be in some more projects as well. But yeah, I like, man, when Herman wakes up, man, that's awesome. The grunts and screams and the way he moves is fucking great. But I love this, man. The reveal, the Good Morning Transylvania. There's Daniel Roebuck again, basically doing what he always does with Rob Zombie, playing a talk show host.
Yeah, but for some reason they got him in this whole like Richard Nixon getup.
Yeah, this big ass nose and
These jowls.
he's like a Regis and Kelly for Transylvania.
And as much as I love this scene and all of Richard Brake's overacting, like, let's be real, it's a bit of a Young Frankenstein ripoff.
Yeah, it is, or an homage, depending on how you look at it.
We can put it like that.
I just wanted to drive a stake through my dead black heart. He's like, I'll whip you a hubby up in the lab. I don't know, man. God, just Daniel Roebuck as fucking grandpa, dude. Too goddamn perfect.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite lines in the movie, just the way he says it. And fucking Richard Brake on the show, just basically like drunk and being like, you could all kiss my boo-hoo.
Yeah.
Like fucking the Jay Leno show.
Yeah, the silly ass sound effects to cut out the cuss words are a pretty good little gag. It reminds me of Weird Al. Whenever Weird Al does his polka medleys and he's doing a song where a cuss word's a big part of it, like he always uses some cartoon sound effect to replace the cuss word.
This is my last resort. Don't give up if I cut my arm bleeding.
Yeah. Fucking great shit.
Wake up. Oh, man, but Herman is finally revealed to the world.
Yeah, and it's great because I like that this part is in black and white. Like your first introduction to him, I think it looks great in black and white.
And he's sitting there telling his dad jokes.
Yeah, and one of them is directly ripped from the show. The one about so my mother-in-law fell into a wishing well. I didn't know those things actually worked. That's actually from the fucking show.
It's his first words.
Fucking love that shit.
And then he plays his first song too. Which that's a great little gag. Him
What's so funny to me. What is so funny to me about that is the fact that they mention they got the hands from that great pianist, and so they sit him by a piano, and it's like the build up to me is so good. He does the whole cracking of the fingers and shit, and then right before he starts playing, he just starts bashing the shit out of it and breaking it.
And it's
that
such
part,
a tiny piano, and the way he's sitting is so funny too.
yeah, that shit cracks me the fuck up too, man. I'm like, there are some jokes that don't land, but there are some parts where I'm fucking rolling, dude.
And Lily is absolutely smitten with this hunk of a man. Literally a hunk of man.
Yeah, like this motherfucker is ripped. It's like he's got the body of Schwarzenegger in 1988.
He's literally just slabs of meat and steak. But, already, you know, Grandpa's not into it. He's like, who would let that buffoon in the house?
Yeah.
Oh, well, just you wait. Wackiness ensues. Um, but from there, Herman kind of becomes an overnight sensation.
Yeah, an overnight sensation. But what's so crazy is did we like make this comparison on our Halloween 2 review where you remember when Jeff Daniel Phillips is telling them shitty jokes at the
Oh, yeah,
Halloween?
yeah, yeah. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, just more family friendly here.
I never made the connection actually, but it's like, yeah, that was him trying out for Herman right there. And Rob, years before, is just kind of stroking his beard, like, that's a good point. And I love how I weirdly agree with James Rolfe that it's like it's not even necessarily a funny joke. Like it's so unfunny and weird that it just kind of you gotta giggle when Herman's wearing the fucking Groucho glasses, but quoting Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, like I don't get it. Which at the same time, uh, I don't laugh at it. It's not funny to me because I have seen too many movies that do that Clint Eastwood.
Hey,
Uh,
be a lucky punk.
Too many fucking movies. You know, The Mask, Casper, fucking come to mind.
It's like the first Clint line that you think of. What I do think is cool about it is that it's a little touch of Rob throwing in his other big time love. There's Munsters and then there's Groucho.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which
And
Groucho movie? Come on, Rob.
yeah. Um, and so I think the whole "Do you feel lucky, punk" is so played out. It's up there with the "You Talking to Me," the Robert De Niro and
I'm the only one
Taxi.
here. I'm walking here. There's so
Yeah,
many.
that's another one that's overdone, but I don't think I see it as much as the other two.
It's like when you get De Niro, it's just immediately you talking to me.
Yeah, which I'm waiting to see other movies start quoting, "I have nipples. Can you milk me?"
You know, it's so weird too, because like when I finally got around to seeing Taxi Driver, just growing up in the time that I did, it's like, yeah, the line kind of gets killed for you. Like I was still able to like acknowledge the power of the scene, but it's like, yeah, you like know it immediately when you see it, and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's another one that's up there. Is the "Here's Johnny" from The Shining.
Yeah.
But man, so the next scene, dude, we get to the nightclub. This little town, dude, so cool. And you got the Tin Can Man, uh, who is voiced by Butch Patrick, the original Eddie Munster. But I
Yep.
love this fucking sequence, man. Herman's little fucking sort of like a horror punk band,
And
a
dude, like
psychobilly band.
I was saying how this was a big allegory for Rob Zombie's career. It's like the name of the club is literally Zombie A Go Go.
Yeah, which that's the name of his own little record label that he put some groups on,
So
like the Ghastly
this is
Ones
in the
and
zombie verse swimming around somewhere, but also still a prequel to the Munsters. And even when you look at the posters for Herman's band, it's clearly like early white zombie
yeah,
fucking album
yeah.
slip
Like
art
that album cover, man, that album cover is so fucking cool.
with hot wax like this. No, yeah, he's like with a disc like this. How can she resist?
Yeah, then you got Orlock up there dancing on stage during the Devil Bats show
Yeah, so things are going okay for him.
until later on.
Give it time.
Yeah, give it time.
Give it
Gonna
till
feel
some.
real bad for Orlock. Yeah, I like this fucking suit that Floop is wearing. This gold ass fucking shiny suit.
And the lyrics, just taking his terrible jokes and turning it into like these trippy ass punk lyrics actually really work. Where I
Yeah,
love the one where he's like, So what if I don't know what Armageddon means? It's not like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, dude, it's like such a Dead Kennedys kind of vibe.
Yeah, for real. But then he's also yelling stuff just like choo choo,
Yeah.
Herman's time.
Yeah. It's I'm like, I need an album of this.
It's Herman's time, motherfucker. It's Alpha time.
Yeah, there you go. Like
The
I
song
need this
is
to be on
available.
CD.
What was that?
Straight up, I'm going to buy the because sadly the only physical release of this soundtrack is on vinyl, and I'm not that big a vinyl head, but I'm straight up buying that shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a copy of it too, because that's the picture I shared on Facebook all around was
Yeah,
technically
which
the album art.
which looks cooler than the main poster of the movie itself.
Which tends to be a trend nowadays with the new album releases. Like, look at the Stranger Things vinyls. Well, that's basically like the basic cover. But there are other movies where it's like, huh, I wonder why they didn't just put this one on the DVD.
Yeah. So she bumps into Lester, and Lester says he knows Herman.
Yeah, it gets her all set up with a to go meet him backstage. Wink, wink.
Yeah, there's the Devil Bat poster. I love the shit out of that with just cool shit to look at everywhere, man. But yeah,
And it's like
Flip.
I know Lester is a character from the show, but I've always just appreciated how instead of going like Lon Chaney Wolfman, he's like Sam Katzman kind of Wolfman look.
Like he looks like God. There was that guy that used to be on all the weird talk shows in the '90s. The Wolfman, the dude that just had hair grow
Yeah,
all over his body.
with real condition.
Yeah. Like he looks a lot like
Yeah.
that guy. And yes, I like this Herman. You know, he wrote Lily and Herman in his little appointment book. He's literally got nothing going on.
Yeah, that whole scene is really cute, honestly. It leads into something that feels like the original series, but like just kind of culminating together where he's trying to play like the big rock star, but every time he closes a door, he's like pounding with excitement.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we get like I believe this is our first instance of the sped up humor that you saw a lot in the original show, where he speeds over there and throws Floop out of the way. I think they do.
like, what do you want, motherfucker?
Like
And
goddamn.
also, we got to give Lily some credit. It's not often you see in the movie the girl asking out the guy. Like, she knows what she wants and she's just going after it.
And another thing that this does that uh, is the fact that I am glad there's no breakup scene.
For real. There's no love hurts with her stripping at the fucking Rabbit in Red.
Yeah, there's no 15-minute montage of them moping around because they broke up.
No, the
Uh,
love is real. Like, it's love at first sight, like from the get go. And I love the way, like, right before that, he's sitting around. Floop's trying to get him just to think about the album, but he kind
yeah,
of has like this Christopher Walken esque delivery where he's like, "I'm looking for true love, a queen."
and I love that Floop is writing the autographs on the headshots because you could either look at it like Herman has no time for this, or the fact that really here's the thing. Floop is writing the autographs because Herman can't fucking write. When you see his signature on the little deed that he signed,
It's surprising he didn't just destroy the deed right there, like just didn't stab the paper, you know?
yeah. And I like that. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna. He goes on his date. He gets these lilies and he gets the bottle of blood. He's like, I'm gonna splurge. Go ahead, and go with the O.
Yeah, dude, I love that band.
Yeah. And yeah, this is where that castle is, man. This real ass castle.
And it's kind of like a Monty Python setup where you have Grandpa at the top of the castle and fucking Herman screaming down. And right before that, we have like the typical rom-com scene of like, I'm gonna walk and be a bit of a goof while I'm trying to figure out my opening lines.
Yeah, and it's not that great of a scene to me. It's a little annoying. It's some of the moments where Herman annoys me the most. The backing up. I'm like, all right, okay.
Yeah, it kind of leads to it's like the beginnings of that humor when Lester comes back and it's like, what does he say? You gotta swerve or something like that.
Yeah. Like it's like, eh. But I like how the Count is throwing all his medals on so he can just look important.
And I love that, like before, like when Lily mentions the Count, like he's trying to be all cool about it. It's not stuff you typically be used to hearing Herman say, like in the show, but like as a young Herman, it's funny just hearing him be like, dig that, the Count, far out.
Yeah.
He's kind of got like an El Super Beasto quality when he's when he's in his rock star phase and he's letting his ego get the better of him.
Yeah, man, this fog on the stairs. I love the way Lily just kind of floats in there.
Yeah, and then
So
he
fucking
brings her
good.
Lily because because her name is Lily.
But yeah, this is where you had the great line from the Count. Fucking what is this? Yeah, it's a bottle of O negative. The lady said it was very good. Yeah, he's like, well, thank you. You're too kind. He's like, oh, thank you. Yeah, the kind I don't need.
Yeah, dude, I wrote down. I was like, who let Dave Mustaine write that line? Just not your kind.
such a good fucking asshole, fucking grumpy guy.
And I also wrote down like because there's that whole bit. It's not necessarily funny, but like he's screaming up, and then once there's a little bit more of that sped up humor. Like Grandpa comes down, and Herman's still screaming. Oh, I just thought you liked it.
Yeah,
But when he screams, he kind of sounds like H. John. What the fuck is his name? The guy who plays Bob from Bob's Burgers. H. John Benjamin.
yeah. I've never. You talking about Bob Burgers?
Yeah, when he screams, it kind of has the same cadence as fucking Bob.
So I've never really watched that. So yeah, the
Yeah,
dinner scene. I like the book that Grandpa is reading.
yeah, just a ton of background gags. I'm trying to remember what the title of it was.
But yeah, it's just fucking. There's so much cool. It looks like there's asparagus in one of these bowls, man.
It's a Shrek 2 ass dinner scene where it's like awkward and he's not really impressing the dad, but there is some good corny jokes there where it's like, how do you keep a grouchy old vampire in suspense?
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
This is a bunch of cornball hooey.
Yeah. So and other shit like that. Yeah, such a cornball hooey. Fucking such a grandpa thing.
And then it pretty much leads into them going on their walk where like their love is cemented.
Yeah. Damn. She's just like, come on, Hermie, let's go for a walk.
Yeah, he wants to talk about his lyrics. He's like, I just come up with stuff all the time. Like it's just easy to me.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's funny, like thinking of Herman coming from being this big rock star, and then leaving all that to be a family man.
Lucky there's a family guy. Yeah. He had to leave that life behind when the drugs became too much. I almost lost my bolts. But yeah, so they have the Sonny and Cher montage, which we talked about before. And I guess the only other addition that I could add on to it is that, like, yeah, I guess Beavis and Butthead did it better.
Oh man, goddamn! So yeah, this is when Grandpa decides they need to do something about Herman. Which I'm not gonna lie, it does feel like some plot points are brought up and then sort of rushed and glossed over and just kind of end out of nowhere.
Yeah,
But
tell because the writing isn't as good. Where it's like Daniel Roebuck pretty much literally looks at the camera and is like, "We got to do something about that Herman Munster."
yeah, and so then he just decides to make someone else, and then that fails. He's like, You win some and you lose some. And then he's just over it. He's just accepted that Herman's going to be his son.
That scene of him whipping up a new husband and it turns out to be like this weird cowboy monkey. It reminds me of something like James Rolfe, like Cinemassacre would have released like back in the day on their website.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're walking through the graveyard, and that's one of her many gravestones. But yeah, this is such a good scene. The Sonny and Cher thing. I like that she's got this Cher wig with the bangs. He's got the Sonny mustache and the longer hair. Got this Sonny Bono shit going on. Then he's like getting this tattoo, this tiny tattoo, and he's fucking crying. And she's having to comfort him, but at the same time, she's getting this massive tattoo, and it's doing nothing to her. Pretty funny little gag. At the Devil's Island, is that where it's coming next? But
Yeah, they're sitting there because it's building up to the proposal.
yeah, because they meet Uncle Gilbert, man. Like you said, such a deep cut. Because Uncle Gilbert is supposed to be the actual creature from the Black Lagoon. And I love the scene during this montage when they're at the theater watching Creature from the Black Lagoon, and you've got the pictures up there. Creature Walks Among Us, Revenge of the Creature, and they're just watching the movie and laughing and having a good time. I love the shit out of that.
And it's necessary Munsters lore where he's like, "Nice to meet you, young man."
Yeah. And some of the costumes that Herman wears are so ridiculous. Like, I don't know what the fuck he's supposed to be wearing here on this little beach at Devil's Island.
It's like a 1918 swimsuit
Yeah, it's like that strongman beach outfit.
with the stripes. And then it is hard to hear that Sonny and Cher song and not think about Groundhog Day, I will say.
Yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, this is where he proposes at this little nasty beach.
And his stuttering proposal reminds me of Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder. But it happens. They're off to get hitched.
You've made me the happiest ghoul in the world. But yeah, then we cut to they're trying to, like we were just talking, they're trying to whip up a new husband, and the shit that he throws in this cauldron is hilarious.
Because Tarzan.
Yeah, the chest hair of Tarzan.
I love the way he says that name. He keeps saying Tarzan.
Yeah, Tarzan. The chest hair of Tarzan. The cowboy hat of John Wayne. The shoes of Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly. But yeah, then it cuts to Floop and fucking Augustus just chilling. It looks like, is that Leave It to Beaver they're watching?
Yeah, because like it lines up with like the dialogue and what's going on. Because it cuts to like a random shot of Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah, so there's all that shit on Augustus' face. What happened to him is just kind of mentioned in passing, and I don't remember what the fuck gave him all that shit on his face. But yeah, so
I can't remember right off the bat.
Yeah, so they think that she broke up with him, but now he's crying because they're getting married. But yeah, so now Grandpa's throwing all this shit into this cauldron. A pair of dancing shoes, one from Fred Astaire and one from Gene Kelly. And to top it off, a little swagger cowboy head of the one and only John Wayne. And then, oh yeah, looked like the Duke did wear a toupee.
And we missed it before, like right before he went on his first date. But like my favorite line in the whole movie, I don't know why it fucking kills me, but Herman's dressed like a fucking pimp, and he goes like, "She's expecting a hot guy on the scene. I ain't no Bobby Darin."
Yeah. I ain't no Bobby Darin.
And he's doing this whole shuck and jive like motion with his hands.
Yeah.
That shit was awesome.
It's the hair cheetah.
Yeah, that's not one of my favorite punchlines in the movie, but I do love how he kind of dances off screen, stage
Yeah,
left.
dances off screen, and yeah, and so yeah, like Grandpa is straight up over trying to get rid of Herman.
He literally tells him, "Get lost, I give up."
Yeah, like straight up. You win some, you lose some, and
He's
it's
getting too
over.
old for this. And then there's a great Dracula reference because
Yeah,
she
you know I
tells,
don't drink wine.
yep, and she tells him that she got proposed to, and there's another great fucking creep show shot where he's just like, what
Yeah,
is that?
I love how he falls over, and it straight up cuts to the hearse.
Yeah, great edit there.
Yeah, kind of making it look like he's dead, but he ain't dead. This is the wedding. I love that hearse too. Uh, what is cool is apparently those are real hearses that they use in Hungary. Rob Zombie said they wanted to rent one, but they wouldn't let him rent one. He said because they use them all the time. He said he went on set one day and one was there, and he said, "Oh shit, did they let us get the hearse?" They said, "No, we built it." And so like Zombies like praising all these guys saying, we had such a small budget and everybody just went above and beyond. They straight up made a car for us.
They made a Dracula.
But yeah, this is some silly shit. Lester talking to Herman and the little gyrating bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is the first time him and Herman officially meet.
yeah. And just, takes advantage of Herman's simple mind. Because
And at the wedding, Richard Brake has pretty much gone full Mr. Hyde with his top hat, and he's just getting drunk.
yeah, he's like over it.
So
Hard
funny. He
times
looks at him
falling
like
on
there's no
Augustus.
problem.
And yeah, because Zoya wants the castle. Uh, and I don't know, Herman's reaction to Lily walking out of the coffin is a little weird, but I love this where the bats pull the veil up. That is straight out of Tim Burton to me. That's very Corpse Bride esque.
And they have the robot played by Eddie.
Yeah.
Let's get them married. It is weird that it's just a voice cameo from one of the original members, but
Which
hey,
we
it's
get
better
two
than nothing.
voice cameos from original members. You got Butch Patrick doing Tin Can Man, and then you have Pat, the second Lily, the Lily that not Lily, the second Marilyn.
Yeah, she's on the plane. She's like
Yeah.
the voice of the flight, the pilot.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm like, I'm glad you got them to do cameos, but and then I get it because he did. This movie was filmed at the height of COVID fever.
It's amazing they got fucking Cassandra Peterson.
Yeah, like it's amazing they were able to finish this movie. And for it to be as good as it is, and for it to look as good as it is, I mean, it was a shoestring ass budget uh, during the height of fucking COVID. It's pretty damn impressive. But I like how Floop and Augustus come to the wedding.
Give their boy away.
Yeah,
And now the Munsters have officially begun, basically.
yeah. We have everybody but Eddie.
And so they're driving, and I love this little bit of music that's playing as Lily and Herman are like driving off to their honeymoon. But then they bump into Lester, who pretty much like spills the beans immediately on what happened.
Yeah, and I love this where Richard Brake says, "He's your bloody problem now, mate."
Yeah, he just fucking he goes with a completely different British accent for the last line.
Yeah, I love this car, man. God, I love this car.
Yeah, that was one of the shots in the trailer where I was like, "That's gonna be awesome." And it is only like a quick scene, but it's a sick looking car. It's the precursor to the Dracula.
Yeah, so Lester wants to congratulate Lily, and Lester's drunk, Got a little bottle of liquor.
And then he goes back to Zoya and gets ripped off, basically. And I love the line that Bella does. He's like, Wolf is stupid.
Yeah, Wolf is stupid.
But they're
Yeah,
off to, I believe they're off to Paris next, or they're just going like on vacation on their honeymoon. But we got these green screen montages of them traveling. But like the way the sun is, like the time is moving in the background, it kind of looks like something out of The Exorcist.
yeah. So they go on honeymoon in Paris, and it's it's a little weird. I mean, because it's not filmed in Paris, and it looks real small. It looks real small. Uh,
They filmed it at Paris and Las Vegas.
yeah, the little walking montage is kind of goofy because they're not really walking; they're just kind of stomping in place behind the green screen. But this little street that they're using as Paris looks really cool.
And dressed up in their French gear.
And it's about to come up on another one of my favorite scenes in the movie where they're sitting there eating and they're talking about, I like how they're talking about, oh yeah, everyone's looking at us weird. Oh, it's because we're not from Paris. He's like, oh, we'll blend in now. And he puts on a fucking beret. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, dude. They're fucking staring at you because you're a big ass green monster.
And there's that great scene with the mime where it's like now we're in full Munsters mode.
Yeah, this dinner scene is fucking great. When they all, this to me is like classic Munsters right here. Everyone sees them, they freak the fuck out, and it's sped up running away. But what's really funny is I like the lady just passing out in her food. I like the guy that pops the champagne in the guy's face. But what's even funnier is he kind of just like turns to the other lady to get champagne spewing on her too. But the one that fucking sticks out is the goddamn mime who mimes ripping his heart out and it's beating in his hand and he falls the fuck over.
Yeah, that should have been the guy from 31 right there.
That shit fucking has me rolling every time I see it. And I'm like, that, what a great way to do with the mime. Then he says, oh, that's the loudest mime I've ever seen. So then, yeah, they see a little newspaper with this monster. So we get how they get Spot, the dragon that lives in their basement.
They go to the catacombs.
Yeah, catacombs with no bones.
The no bone catacomb.
Yeah, and it's a throwaway scene, sort of. I mean, it's not very. All the action's happening off screen, and you're just kind of seeing Lily's reaction to it.
Spot ate all the bones. That's my theory.
Yeah, Spot ate all the bones. There you go.
Which, if I remember correctly, you never see Spot in the show, so they actually show you like he's just a big old. He's like Dino.
Yeah, because now he's a baby. He's just a little baby dragon, which I think is pretty cute. The few things they do with him, like when they got him laying in the tub in the hotel, and then at the end of the movie, he's laying in bed under the covers. Like that's how you would do. Your dog sleeps on the bed, your cat sleeps on the bed. Why not your pet dragon?
How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like he's wrestling Spot, but you don't see none of it. But when he's holding him, he's just kind of shaking. You can tell that this is just, it's obviously, a prop, but he's shaking it to make it look like it's moving.
It's like an Ed Wood movie.
Yeah, seriously. But I love this, the Playghoul magazine. Grandpa's looking through. But I love his chair. It's an electric chair, but the headpiece is a lamp, a little reading lamp.
I didn't even notice the Playghoul magazine, but it reminded me of another somewhat adult joke that I didn't notice until this time around, where it's earlier in the movie where Lester is meeting with Zoya, and he goes like, "You own this joint?" And she goes, "Zoya owns many joints." And he says something like, "Oh, I could tell," or something like that. Well, I should
Yeah.
have known.
But I like this too when he gets the letter that the house has been given away to Zoya. I like that it cuts to Zoya reading it.
Yeah. And then another thing I like about this whole France sequence, the funniest thing is just watching Herman like, I can't follow this Woody Woodpecker cartoon to save my life.
Yeah, and just seeing cartoons dubbed in other languages is funny in and of itself. So seeing Woody Woodpecker in French is pretty funny. But yeah, they got him in a little bubble bath. But that's a great little looking animatronic. The little spot doll, or really good looking. But yeah, so the Count gets to France pretty quick.
It's about to smash him with a bottle, but he just takes it.
Yeah. And then you get the little tip thing.
And then the Count breaks in and pretty much explains everything that happened with Lester. And honestly, Lily handles it really well.
Yeah, it's a we're broke now, and you gave our fucking house away that's been in the family for hundreds of years, and the reaction is, oh, Herman.
Oh, Herman, why? And then they have to get on the phone with Shady Magoon, which, what the fuck is this character? What the absolute shit?
Shady McCoon, that scene is fucking hilarious. He's a shady ass lawyer who's in prison, obviously for doing shady lawyer shit, but he's still doing shady lawyer shit in prison.
And he tells them they have as good as a chance as a shark in like a lunar eclipse during a lightning storm or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's so ridiculous, but pretty damn funny.
So they have to move to America, but they have to figure out where. Which we get kind of a Dr. Wolfenstein kind of moment where he's watching
Yeah,
one of the horror hosts on TV.
yeah. Zombo is another Munsters character that is another little deep cut, and that's Jeff Daniel Phillips playing him in that too. And I love the Rob Zombie song that they made for it. Uh,
Zombo.
good fucking shit. Um, but yeah, I love the coffin telephone booth
A little
that they
bit more of
have
that Doctor Who vibe.
they have the telephone sitting in this little coffin cupboard. But
Remember what happens after that? I mean, I know Igor becomes the Batman around this time.
yeah, because right here, this is when they figure out they're going to move to America. They're going to move to Hollywood because that's where Zombo's at. And they think that California looks like Transylvania because fucking Zombo.
They should have played Go to California.
Yeah, that fucking would have worked.
As they're flying in the plane, looking out the window.
That would have been amazing.
That's so funny on the fucking plane where he's like, what do you call these drinks? And she's like, Shirley Temple. He's like, oh, they're so strong.
Yeah, and it's a non-alcoholic drink, which is funny. Herman is straight up getting drunk off of a non-alcoholic drink.
He's getting that sugar rush.
Yeah. And so, yeah, they just all of a sudden decide, yeah, he's like, $1 is all I need. And yeah, we're gonna go. That cutting to Igor playing the violin is hilarious.
And then the real estate agent who they're talking to is Elvira Cassandra Peterson.
Yeah.
And it's so funny how she goes out of their way to be like, it's Halloween tomorrow, so don't be surprised by my appearance. Meanwhile, Lily mentions that they're going to be taking airline 666 and nobody questions it.
Yeah. But yeah, on the plane, which is I get it. You probably cut it for time, but all the shit that happened off screen, like it was nice of them to let us have first class, we should have had a scene where like everyone freaks out, and runs to the back of the plane.
Right, and there was more than likely in the script.
But I love this where the flight attendant, she goes to get him his drink and she comes back with a fucking parachute on.
Yeah, abandoned ship.
And she just hops out of the fucking plane. Like that's classic fucking Munsters. So I would say that makes up for the people running because we've already seen that happen. So this is something we haven't seen before in this movie. And she's all calm and shit. She's like, all right. And then the fucking door opens and shit's blowing all over them and they're not paying any attention to it.
And then Herman needs to be walked off the plane. He's like, I'm never having another Shirley Temple.
Yeah, they're having to carry his ass off the plane. It's fucking hilarious. But look at the Count's outfit here, dude. I love that motherfucker's wardrobe.
I love the hat in particular.
Yeah.
That almost Russian-inspired hat.
Yeah, with a big-ass bat on the front. And so this is where, I guess technically... So
We're in the
meet,
third act, basically.
Yeah. They meet Cassandra Peterson, and she's the Wicked Witch of the West. And I like it when she opens the door and she faints. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was used in the trailer. And I love how when they're introducing her to the whole family, Herman's like, that thing over there is my father-in-law, the Count.
Yeah, and here's something I was going to say is like, if they were to add on to this, if they could go ahead and make the sequel, keep Cassandra Peterson, let her and the Count have something going on. Because the Count's pretty infatuated with her. And he even makes the little bat chicka wow wow fucking shit, and let them have a little something going on,
And then when she takes off the makeup, like the next day, he's like, where were all the hotties from yesterday?
Yeah.
He's kind of like a Frank Reynolds. This grandpa.
Yeah, so Grandpa's all infatuated with her. She could be one of his, she could be a new ex-wife. But this montage scene, I'm like, damn, we just had a montage scene. We had our
this
Paris
one's
montage. Then now we got our California montage. But I do like the UFOs flying up, like that's kind of funny. But man,
it's like an added little Rob Zombie detail. But yeah, the green screen in this part in particular is like, we got to make the movie like an hour and a half.
I love Mockingbird Heights. This entire set is fantastic. It's got
they recreated it to the T.
Yeah, and it's got this sort of fake suburban, nuclear family vibe to it, especially when it's the next day and everybody's not wearing costumes anymore. But I love the Halloween decorations and the masks and all of that shit, man. Such a great fucking scene. But it also gives me Edward Scissorhand vibes of their little neighborhood and that. And then you got the one creepy place up on the hill where Edward Scissorhands is from. Did I say Ed Wood? I meant to say Edward Scissorhands.
2 Johnny Depp, Tim Burton roles. Ed Wood, Scissorhands. I love when they get all excited about Mockingbird Lane and Grandpa's like, I can't wait to start poking around the backyard. Who knows who I might find?
Yeah. Yeah, so Cassandra Peterson thinks she's selling them this normal house, but they want this dilapidated old mansion.
It looks like Barbara's trying to swindle us on that abomination over there. Now I got to get tough. But she's like, no, I'll sell it to you. This place has been a thorn in my side for years. She's like, you guys can take it and renovate it back to its. I love that. Like, she's like, you guys can bring it back to its former glory. They're like, we're not going to touch it.
Yeah, like, no, don't you move those gravestones. But I don't know if we missed it, but yeah, the fate of Orlok. They're reading a newspaper, and on the newspaper it says Orlok eaten by horde of rats.
Oh, his pets got him.
Yeah, they were
Revenge.
not boys. Steve and what are some of the other names of them rats?
Jesus.
This is Steve. He's a naughty boy. But yeah, I like this, man. God, I love this shot in the house, and you got Spot's tail wagging around, and they're just sitting on the same little couch, not knowing what to do because they don't have any money now. And
Herman's stepping up now, where he's like, "I'm gonna get a job." Because Lily suggests that they all get jobs, and he's like, "I'm the man of the house."
yeah, good luck doing that in 2024.
Right, right. But he's also kind of going off of like what Lester tricked him before, because he's like, "Well, you're the man of the house, right? Everything, half of what Lily's is yours now."
Yeah, man, I love this Halloween block party.
Yeah, dude, it's like such a welcome wagon for them.
It is so fucking cool.
This is
Just
where
everybody there dancing and shit. The costumes, man, such a great ass fucking scene.
this is where he gets to introduce to Gateman, Goodberry, and Graves, and they got
Yeah,
such a little
little
song
song
number.
they sing, man. Their little song they sing is great.
And
But
fuck, Grandpa's going around like at the drink, like, "Listen, there's no blood in this. Somebody's playing a joke."
yeah, that line fucking has me roll every time I hear it. That shit is so good. God damn.
Dude,
But
then later he pops off with like, he's like, "I haven't had that much fun since storming the Bastille."
yeah.
Good shit.
Yeah,
They
fucking
win the fucking costume party because people are yet to realize what's really going on.
yeah, they think they're good costumes, but Herman thinks it's a beauty contest.
And Grandpa wants a check.
Yeah. Grandpa wants that money, and I love Herman when he's like, "We won, we won, we won," just shoving it
We're
in
number
everybody's
one.
faces. But yeah, I mean, God, man, these costumes are so good, man.
And
Shit,
we're
this whole sequence is great looking.
it gets you in that Halloween mood. It makes me want to throw a rave right now. But we're pretty much in now like the final scenes, which it kind of just like creeps up on you. There's no like major Rob Zombie climax aside from like the recreation of the opening, but now this is like everything, like the Lester thing in particular, like really gets wrapped up like
Yeah,
suddenly positively.
all the main plots that kind of have all the main conflicts kind of just happen and then end.
He
Uh,
actually was successful at Vegas, which I guess is like the in a world this unrealistic, I guess.
yeah, because when he got that shitty check from Zoya, he mentioned he's gonna fucking go to Vegas and double it. Uh,
And did.
but yeah, all of the major conflict plot lines are just kind of abruptly just given up on. Like with the grandpa trying to get rid of Herman and the Lester thing. Because, I mean, they're not even that upset that they lost the house. They're
Plus
just
the
like, oh,
moment,
Lester doing his thing, and oh, Herman, you're just a simple man.
plus the
You
moment they
dumb dumb.
realized, yeah,
Huh?
I was saying, plus the moment they realize they're surrounded by humans, like that's really where Herman and Grandpa's relationship kind of strengthens. Where now Lily's kind of in control. There's like that one scene where it's like, "Your wife's kind of scary," and he's like, "I know."
Yeah. Because now it's like we're getting the dynamic where Herman and Grandpa are buddies, and they'll get into schemes and shit, and then Lily's kind of like the voice of reason and all that. So we're getting them where they need to be right before the series begins.
This is how shit's gonna be in their new life.
Yeah, and I like this in the bedroom. They're watching The Mummy, and he smashes the bowling ball through the wall, and this horribly done CGI skeleton pops out of the wall. But I like it.
And there's some throwaway line about like you know, I'm gonna need to practice for when I go out with the boys, but you don't bowl. He's like, yeah, but you know. And there's some other throwaway line about how Goodberry and Graves were like, you have a face for funerals.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's the next day now, and they've got the Zombo cereal, and Herman's in his Herman Munster suit. Everybody's looking pretty similar to the series now. You got Grandpa in the tuxedo, and dude, Herman looks great in this fucking suit. Like the version of these characters being this close to the original series now look fucking fantastic.
And I love the shots of him like looking around a normal, happy suburban neighborhood with absolute horror. And even though it's not his home footage trope, like the way the camera's whipping around and the shots of like the kids on their bikes, it almost has like that Halloween home footage kind of feel to it. Because this is Herman's horror. You know what I mean?
And this is probably the only thing that I really disagree with in the movie. This where Herman freaks out that the neighborhood is normal, and they're all freaking out and calling these normal human beings creatures and just being afraid of them. That is more Addams Family humor than it is Munsters, because in the Munsters, it was always about they thought they were as normal as everyone else, and
that was the overall message.
Yeah, and it didn't. Yeah, the message was it doesn't matter what you look like. It's what's on the inside, and they say that here, but even at the same time, Lily's still after she says that she's still ready to be horrified. Before they open the door, and it's Lester. But to me, this is more Addams Family humor, where Addams Family always felt like Addams Family. Yeah, they were some weird people in a normal world too. What's up?
Like the Addams Family, they're more like confused or a little disgusted by the outside world, where the Munsters are like blissfully like ready to enter the world.
Yeah. And so to me, this is probably the only thing that I would say he really kind of gets wrong. I get the joke. I get exactly what the joke is supposed to be saying, but it's more Addams Family than it is the Munsters.
And especially like right at the end, I will say their reaction is funny when they look outside and they both do the same kind of like motion to cover their mouths.
Yeah. They bite the knuckle, and it's funny. It's funny. But it's not Munsters. That's the only time in this where I can be like, it's not the Munsters. And even then too, he's like, I gotta wear 8 X-ray glasses because I don't even like the way the outside looks, It's like, really?
But that's pretty much it. They just cut to wrapping up Lester's subplot, and then
Lester shows up out of nowhere, has the money, and fucking Herman's like, I'm rich. And it's a funny bit.
As they all just bounce around in slow-mo.
They're just jumping around and throwing money around.
Making it rain.
And then it ends. It just kind of ends on this silly sitcom note, which is fitting. But I could imagine, do a sequel where some of the other characters move into the neighborhood, or move to California. Uncle Gilman shows up. Lester moves down the street, But the recreation of the opening is probably the greatest fucking piece in this entire movie.
And that's what they sold it on. Like when the promotional stuff started coming out, they pretty much were like, "Bam, trust us. You know, we could do this."
They get this motherfucking down. When everyone's coming through the doors, like, damn, they get this fucking down. And it's that sitcom shit. Because I'm like, what's he pointing at? What's he pointing at and smiling and walking to? That's always been a sitcom thing. During openings, it'll show they might be like eating dinner with somebody, and then they'll notice the camera and be like, oh, what's up? But ever since I was a kid and I was watching the Munsters, I'd be like, what even are they looking at? But
You know what a weird nitpick to end it on is, though, is that it is a little weird that it's just a straight shot of the opening with none of their names popping up. Like, that would have been a perfect, because it cuts the credits right after. They could have been like, bam, you know, uh, Daniel Roebuck, uh,
yeah,
Sherry Moon Zombie, Jeff Daniel Phillips, like really stapling that. It's like they are the Munsters.
yeah, and then it feels too like the recreating the opening of the series for the ending of this movie. Is you could say that this movie ends where the series begins in a way. Uh, but I love this animated sequence during the credits.
Yeah, we got this weird like blah. They live on Mockingbird Lane.
Yeah, we get this little monster mash kind of jam,
I'd like to
which
imagine
I think
that's
is
Orlock.
awesome as fuck.
I'd like to think that's Orlock singing.
Yeah, seriously. Orlok
But
comes
with
back.
that, I mean, I guess final opinion was like if I had kids, man, like I would show them this movie around Halloween time and the adults would be able to enjoy it with them. And again, I hope this just keeps encouraging Rob Zombie to do more genres outside of his comfort zone because it's not fully outside of his comfort zone, but it's more full on comedy than what he's done before.
Yeah, it's definitely uh, I hate to say a wasted opportunity, but there's massive potential to see Rob Zombie grow using this same frame. You built the sets, man. And I know they tore them all down and shit, but I hate that they're not using them. Now you don't have to use Transylvania anymore. Now you can just recreate Mockingbird Lane and do the monsters in their natural environment that we know and love, and
Help
just
make
build
another
on these versions of the characters that we're seeing now. I hate that like this is the end of that.
make another Universal theme park, Rob. Like make a Monsters Universal attraction. There's not enough money in it, but that would actually be cool around like I know like they don't necessarily do the Halloween Horror Nights, but every theme park has their own like themed Halloween time thing. Like, bro, bring the Munsters into Universal.
Yeah, and so I also like that during the credits, after the little "We Are the Munsters" song or whatever, it just cuts to the house,
Yeah, I
and
love that. It's just a
yeah,
straight shot of the house in black and white.
and the credits roll very much like the series. When the series would end, I believe it was a shot of the house while the credits scrolled up.
And with that, I mean, this feels weird where we're at the end.
Yeah, because to me, this movie is great. I love the shit out of it. Uh, there's a few jokes that don't land, but I think the performances, the look of the movie, the color of the movie. Some scenes don't necessarily look all that great to me, like the montages of Paris and California. Some of the rushed plot details uh, aren't really fleshed out enough, but I think the entire movie is a damn joy to watch. And like I said at the beginning of this is probably the best thing with the Munsters characters since the original fucking show, and arguably the Munsters Go Home movie. But like other than that, I mean, for something like this to get rid of other beloved characters like Eddie and Marilyn, and add new characters like Floop and Augustus, and for them to be standout characters, man, like that's hard to fucking do.
It's a real accomplishment. So I see this as a success on Rob Zombie's part, but I know financially, I mean, I'm surprised it's still on Netflix. I remember hearing something that's like they were going to pull it off. So as I was logging into Netflix today, I'm like, I log on to here and it's just not, it's gone. But
Yeah, that's why people buy physical media, y'all, because that shit goes the fuck away. You know, you hear it more about movies and stuff nowadays with the streaming sites for movies because they're taking movies off all the time. But when you're getting reports of streaming sites getting rid of their originals, that's where it becomes a little crazy. Because originally when it was just Hulu and Netflix, that's where the movies were at. But then when they started doing original content, it became okay. We need this streaming service for this show. We need this streaming service for this show or this movie. And now that they're removing their originals, you're not going to be able to see that shit again unless there was a physical release. So and music streaming sites do the exact same thing all the time. So buy physical, y'all. Come on.
well, true about streaming services too is that like even if you like a show, it's like the way their model works is that it's like crank it out in 3 seasons, then get rid of it, make way for new product.
Yeah, yeah. It's so fast and manufactured. But yeah, I think this movie is a success. I love the shit out of it in the Rob Zombie filmography.
And speaking of the Rob Zombie filmography, we have reached the final portion of the retrospective where we do our official ranking. Now, my question I have for you, Travis, is do we start from our least favorite and go up that way?
Yeah, lists are always better when it's either worst to best, least favorite to favorite. When you start with the best one, uh, yeah, you want to know what the worst one is, but the anticipation is gone. To me, I like lists better when it starts with the worst going to the best. There's only 9 Rob Zombie movies,
Yep.
so um, the ranking gets a little weird because with there only being 9 and they're all pretty fucking good. The placement it was kind of hard to make this list,
Yeah, same for me. I'm
and
still not entirely sold on my picks, but I think it's a pretty, for right now where I'm at, I think it's a pretty solid list.
yeah, I'm definitely sold on my list, but it's probably going to be controversial. So I want if you would do the honors and begin.
So with my list, I'm not entirely sold on this, but starting with, I guess we'll call it least best, I put Halloween 2. Not necessarily that I think it's a bad movie. I think just the struggles that Rob went through during the making of it and the reception of it definitely brought it down on the list. And I think it's also just because it's one of uh, the ones of his I've seen the least, or the one I go back to the least. I definitely got something out of it this time around, but it's the lowest. And then above that at number 8, I have 31. Again, didn't hate it, but it just kind of is like it's just kind of Rob Zombie Saw. It's cool for what it is. Then at number 7, I have Halloween 1, which the more I watch it and the more it goes into like the basic remake sections of it, like I grow to like this movie more and more. Um, but still, it's part of the Halloween franchise. It was part of that whole production bullshit. So I think keeping that in mind and keeping like how even Rob feels about the movies keeps them lower for me. Then at number 6, we got the Munsters. Uh, we're pretty much reaching the middle here, so I would say it's like lower mid tier, like pretty good for what it is. But in terms of Rob Zombie movies, we can only get better from here. At number 5, I have Three from Hell, where I said it is better than El Super Bisto, but I personally like have such a love for El Super Bisto that it's just higher on the list.
Yeah,
Which
true that.
it's at number 4, Haunted World of El Super Bisto. Originally was going to put it higher, but I have to be a little bit realistic that, listen, it's a novelty film. It's not even really like part of the main filmography. It was like this Stars direct to DVD comic adaptation, but cool cast that we probably won't see with Rob again, like Paul Giamatti, uh, and I don't know. I just think it's a demented, fucked up piece of hilarious art. At number 3, we have House of a Thousand Corpses. It's a fucking solid movie. It set the stage for what Rob Zombie movies were going to be, but also looking back, it's so I don't want to use the word primitive, but it's so like in the infancy of Rob Zombie as a filmmaker, where when you think of a Rob Zombie movie, this was definitely like the novelty of the time, like the music video, his own music is in it. Um, but still, great introduction to the Firefly family. So many memorable sequences, so many memorable lines. Um, and then this is where, it gets a little. I was going to originally make this a tie, but I just have to be this guy. So number 2 is Lords of Salem. It's fucking arguably his best movie of all time. But I just love Devil's Rejects. And I was originally going to put them either as a tie or I was going to put Lords of Salem over Devil's Rejects. But man, this week I started rewatching scenes from Devil's Rejects, like even quick throwaway shots like the psychedelic Jesus and like the feelings I feel when like Otis is getting thrown out of the window. Like there's just so many. It really is his Tarantino movie, and I hate to be that guy because I know it's what everybody says, but like Devil's Rejects is like a damn near perfect movie, like across the board. And I mean, I guess you could argue so is Lords of Salem, but it's like two completely different ballparks. So
Yeah.
I would have 2 be Lords of Salem, and Devil's Rejects still takes the crown for me as not just like Rob's best movie, but just one of the best in the horror genre.
That's a damn good ranking and almost wildly different than mine.
Well, that's why I'm excited. I want to see just like how, you know, Travis it up, man. I want to see just what your pure Rob Zombie ranking is.
Yeah, Travis it up. So number 9, least favorite. One I'll probably never watch again. Never in the mood for it. Uh, Love it, but it don't do much for me. Uh, El Super Bisto is number 9, my least favorite. It's a great comedy, sick, silly cartoon, but I'm just never. It's a movie of his that for some reason I always forget about.
And
Uh,
unless you got certain friends, like, it's kind of a hard movie to sell.
yeah, and if you're by yourself, for me at least, it's a hard sit through. Um, but if you got a bunch of buddies that are into this and y'all are watching it at the same time, I'm sure the experience is much more funny. Like when we did the retro years ago with Zach and Josh, uh, we had a lot of fun watching it because we were all just getting drunk and laughing at it and stuff. But watching it again for the retro, I was seeing more like, yeah, at this point, he's got a lot more movies. that are just, to me, they're better. So number 8, I believe this is one where you and I are about the same. 31 is my number 8. It's a cool ass movie, but out of the grand scheme of Rob Zombie movies, it doesn't really do much to.
It had one of his best endings. I will give it that.
Yeah, it's got a cool ending and a nothing ending at the same time, with where it just cuts. Like, all right.
Like The
But
Sopranos.
the best thing the movie did was the hyper violence, the crazy head characters, and really bringing Richard Brake to the forefront. Um, Not the best Sherry Moon performance on screen. Um, and so, but yeah, for coming back from an art house kind of movie like Lords of Salem, yeah, he wanted to cleanse that palette and go full exploitation. That's totally cool, but it's not as good as his other great exploitation movies. So number, was it 987? Number 7 is Halloween.
All right, so we line up there too. Halloween 1.
Yeah, and I love the shit out of it. It's much better than some of the other Halloween reboots like Halloween 4 and even H2O. To me, I like it more than H2O. I still have to see this new trilogy, but I am probably sure I'm not going to like any of those as much as this one either. We should do that, like just a Halloween retrospective, going through that.
Start from the original all the way to the new ones, and then if you need to watch the Rob ones, you can come back to this.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's a really cool movie. Got a cool look. It was his 3rd film, and they gave him the reins of a massive established franchise. And I think he did his thing, making it different enough and familiar enough. Number 6 is 3 from Hell. I love the shit out of it. This is where the ranking gets real hard, but this is like, all right, this is where the shit fits in my heart. Fucking 3 from Hell is the shit. Love Richard Brake's character in it. Love goddamn Chop Top coming back. What the fuck is that actor's name?
Bill Moseley.
Bill Moseley. Love Bill Moseley coming back. Love seeing Sherry Moon breaking back into the baby character. Great fucking movie. A movie that
Spalding
I
one
didn't
last
think,
time.
huh?
Got to see Spalding one last time.
Yeah. Got to see Spalding one last time. It's a movie that I didn't think would ever be made. And when it was announced, I didn't think it could be done, but it was done. And so, what is that? 9876. So number 5. Number 5.
Number 5.
The Devil's Rejects.
Number 1. Make it so.
Yeah, the number 5 is Devil's Rejects. This is where shit's about to get controversial. Some people might be pissed off, but Devil Rejects is great. I love the hell out of it too. But to me, I like it about as much, maybe slightly more than 3 from Hell. Some days I like 3 from Hell better. But when I was sitting here, screaming over the list, the reason it's higher than 3 from Hell is mainly because of Sid Haig. Sid Haig is great in it, and as well as everyone else. The story is better than 3 from Hell. The look of it, especially as his second movie, like, it's pretty fucking phenomenal shit. Whereas that's most everybody's number 1 favorite. That's my number 5th. That's number 5. So yeah, everybody's like, "What? That's the only good Rob Zombie movie. Why are you making that one so low?" So
Well, Dick Lickers, hear him out.
yeah, so get ready, Dick Lickers, because this is really gonna piss some people off. Number 4 is the Munsters.
Over Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, so everyone's if they haven't turned the shit off by now, yeah, you motherfucker, how dare you say Rob Zombie's Munsters is better than the Devil's Rejects?
I get it though. Listen, I'm not like that where it's like I don't know how to explain it, but I definitely could see why you came to that conclusion, especially after all we just talked about today, and what you got out of it. Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid choice.
Yeah, because number one, I'm a massive fan of the Munsters anyway, the original series, and I love what he did with it. You know, can't talk too much about it because we already did, but the reason I like it more than his classic Devil's Rejects is just because he does something really well with characters that I love and enjoy. So number 3 is Halloween 2. And that's what Halloween 2? Why is that so high? Why is that his third best movie? I'm like,
I expected it from your list. I wasn't surprised. I knew Halloween 2 was going to be some high praise because what's it called? You brought it up that you kind of not spoiled, but when we did the review, you're like, this is high up on my list.
yeah, because it is people are going to hate me, man. It is one of the best sequels to a Halloween movie straight up out there. It is up there with Halloween 3 for me, or even if you want to say fucking the original Halloween 2. Like it's up there with that. It's one of the better sequels in the entire franchise. And that nobody can seem to get past all the differences and the changes. But when you look at it, this is Rob Zombie's 4th movie, and it brought along and it established a lot of newer paths he was going to choose as a filmmaker, and it also perfected a lot of his tropes that he was toying with at the beginning of his film career. And the look of the movie, the violence of the movie, the trauma the characters are dealing with. I think the movie conveys a lot of shit, but like I said, you got to watch the director's cut because that theatrical cut is not going to do this film justice.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that's why the Halloween movies were pretty low too, because it's one of the few Rob Zombie things where it's like you have to deal with these fucking multiple cuts.
Yeah, and especially with the first one, you gotta watch the director's cut of that one too, because the studio fucked him over on those, but the
It was a real
director's
trial
cut.
and error though, which is important in every artist's journey. So like there's no I don't hate you for putting it so high because like in terms of like artistic like not necessarily merit, but like the struggles you have to go through. Like this was easily the biggest studio product Rob Zombie's ever produced, those two
Yeah,
movies. So
and this one is so much higher than Halloween 1 because Halloween 1 feels like Rob Zombie doing his version of a Halloween movie, whereas his Halloween 2 straight up feels like a Rob Zombie movie.
yeah, the original remake is just kind of like the Carpenter movie with the prequel elements added and a Rob Zombie paint job.
Yeah,
That's what Weinstein's wanted from him. Where the second one, like we talked about, he was like, "I'm doing it my way or the highway. You literally can't find another director. I barely want to do this, but what I will do is I'm interested not in necessarily Michael, but the world building of Haddonfield." Kind of
yeah,
like what he did with the Munsters, where he's like, I just want to explore, like, what the fuck really is this town that this freak walks around in?
yeah. So number 2 is Lords of Salem. That's another one where we fall on together.
Yeah.
And I totally get you on that. With you said, yeah, it's his best movie, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah, there's definitely a distinction where you have to make like quality wise. This is like the best, like even like artistically wise, like his most rewarding film, his
Yeah,
most like his most tight plot, I would say, aside
yeah,
from Devil's Rejects.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
even
and
Devil's Rejects has like its side moments, like you don't plan on fucking them chickens. Like there's really no fat in Lords of Salem until you get to the end, which is like your big reward.
yeah, and it looks great. The dialogue is great. The characters are great. Their transformations are great. The
The emotions are great.
Yeah, and the character, I forget his name, but dude that played the senator on X-Files, the first like real likable character in a Rob Zombie movie. Uh, he's really trying to do research and help some people out and gets fucked up. Man, like everything about Lords of Salem is fantastic all the way through. Definitely his best made movie all the way around, but it's not my favorite. So number one is, and I swear I probably said this in the review. I mean, yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses is my favorite one, and mostly because of how batshit it is. It was the first one he did. I was at the height of my Rob Zombie fandom when it came out, because he had his most recent album at that time was his second one, the Sinister Urge. So I was already a fan of White Zombie years before that, but now it's the Rob Zombie shit, and it's like, oh man, Rob Zombie's making a movie, and just, yeah, the amount of hype that was behind this movie for me and my buddies at the time, and for the movie to fully deliver on that, I was like, man. And then when you look at the landscape of horror movies released in theaters in 2003, just real bland and just very polished looking horror movies. Nothing had balls. And Rob Zombie fucking came in swinging and sort of started a new revolution of hyper violent horror movies in the mainstream for a few years there. Uh, just the way the movie looks, and the introduction to these actors to me. That, yeah, I should have known a lot of these actors beforehand. Uh, but I had seen Texas Chainsaw 2, so I knew of Bill Moseley. But man, the whole movie is fantastic all the way through. Uh, so yeah, that's my list.
And with that, you know, when this episode comes out, comment below. What's your ranking? I would love to find out, what your number one is for the Rob Zombie retrospective.
Yeah. Comment your comment in the comments, or kill me in the comments. There it is. Uh,
Kill him with kindness, though.
yeah, kill me in the comments. Talk about how I am wrong.
But
Ranking the
don't
Munsters
be a
higher than
dipwit
Devil's
about
Rejects.
it. I don't even know where to end this on. I'm trying to think of a good Rob Zombie quote.
One thing I did mean to say was, all right, when it comes to the Munsters and the Addams Family were both on TV around the same time, and the Addams Family series, love the shit out of that too. And they made a few TV movies with the original cast as well, very similar like they did with the Munsters. But it always seemed like they kind of knew what to do with Addams Family, especially in the early 90s when we got Addams Family and Addams Family Values, two great movies, which I will say this doesn't hold a candle to both of those Addams Family movies. but I love this as much as those two Addams Family movies. I think this does a good job of the. I think this does for the Munsters like those two movies did for Addams Family, just in a different kind of way.
A reintroduction.
Yeah, because then after that we got the abysmal Addams Family reunion that led into the also abysmal the new Addams Family.
Ugh.
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 Yeah, but great shit, man. Great shit. But fuck, we don't know what we're gonna do next.
Yeah, all I know is we might have some guests coming down to the basement very soon.
Yeah. We got to get back on those talks.
Also,
But
feel free to recommend us movies that you might want to see us talk about if we haven't already. You know, that could definitely help us out with future episodes. Like we've talked about certain movies in our messages, but yeah, in terms of what the next movie's going to be, not sure. We're waiting on that new Ghostbusters movie to come out, and then we got to wait for it to come out on DVD to even talk about it.
yeah, and now they're talking about doing a sequel to Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, how? What's it going to be about?
Bill and Ted fuck the cosmos.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, I don't know what to end on.
Trying to think of a really good quote, but right now the only one I'm thinking of is golly Miss Molly caught me a live one.
Yeah, yeah. And golly, Miss Molly got me a live one. But hell,
All right, guys.
all I can really say is goodbye, dick lickers.
Later, dick lickers. Eat your wife's pussy.
Yeah. And most of all, fuck you.
Damn it. Got blood on my fucking shirt.
Got blood on my best clown suit.
It's going to be hard not to talk about these movies for future episodes.
Yeah, but we'll see you guys later.
Later.